Wake up, Rip City. The Portland Trailblazers have made the playoffs for the first time since 2021. That's right. They beat the Suns in the play-in yesterday. Oh my God, Gliss, what a crazy game. I wanted to hop on the mic last night with you and chat about it, but it was pretty late here.
Same.
But I'm so glad we get to talk about it today because I've got so much to talk with you, Gliss, today. This is Wake Up, Rip City. I'm one of your hosts, Alex Moore. Joined alongside me, it's Jay Gliss. We're just talking about the game today, everyone. Let's just enjoy this. That's the only plan we have on the show today. We'll talk about the game. Maybe we'll talk about the matchup with the Spurs as well. But the Blazers beat the Suns 114-110 last night, Gliss. We always start the show waking up on the right side of the bed. I mean, this is the best example of that we've had all season, Gliss. What a fantastic game that was last night.
Yeah, it was incredible. I mean, even just as a basketball fan, I think we got treated to two really, really good playing games.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely, like, when they tried to implement this whole play-in tournament to try to, spice things up, I think this is what you kind of envisioned, having that kind of March Madness type feel on the front end of going into what is a very long postseason for the NBA. I didn't watch all of the Charlotte-Miami game, but I definitely watched a lot of the fourth quarter, and I kind of checked out in overtime just because I was, so jacked up, ready to watch the Blazers. But
yeah.
But yeah, I saw some activity on the internet last night, like possibly the best playing game ever, which I think if you look at just the flow of the game, and I think the guys on Prime in the post-game show did a good job kind of touching on this. Just I think it was Blake Griffin said, it felt like a heavyweight fight, and that's absolutely, I think, the right analogy. It was just like, the Suns came out and they looked like the sharper team. They looked like the more poised team to kind of come out at home and take care of business, but Portland's kind of took that and they didn't hang their heads. They just kind of kept within striking distance. And, that second quarter, they just really turned it on, especially the three-point shooting came along. From there, it was like, it just felt like a roller coaster of emotions, because there was many times in this game where I think I'm not the only Blazer fan that felt like incredibly frustrated at times. And we can get into that more, shot selection and just at certain times in the game, and some of it. But then also on the plus side of that, like, because we are waking up on the wrong side, or on the right side of the bed, obviously.
Right side,
yeah, the right side. But on the flip side of that, the adjustments that they made throughout the game to kind of bring themselves back into the game and give themselves a chance. And man, what a fun win. And again, I've said this multiple times the last couple of weeks. It's like, if you could have put us in this situation and we knew this is where we could be at the end of this season, I think every Blazer fan would take it. And it's just a fun experience. And now, I mean, the plus side, and as you said, we don't need to get too far into the game, the series coming up yet. We all know that's going to be incredibly difficult. But to take care of business last night on the road and get these days off and not have to worry about coming to play a game on Friday and then probably start a playoff series on Sunday, even if they won that game. Now they get to kind of take a deep breath, reset, watch some film, and feel prepared going into a playoff series. So I couldn't be more on the right side of the bed this morning.
Absolutely. I mean, and let's not bury the lead here. Deni Advija was absolutely incredible. Man. 41 points, 12 assists, 7 rebounds. I saw a stat that he created like 71 of the Blazers' points in this game. 71 in a game they only scored 114. I mean, that's insane. He was incredible. He came to, in the fourth quarter, just everyone in the arena, everyone watching the game knew what the Blazers wanted to do. They wanted to give Deni a chance with the ball, and he was going to drive with his right hand. And even with that said, the Suns could not stop him. He gets the game winner on an and one that puts the Blazers up. I mean, just an incredible performance. I want to pause right here just to give us a moment to think about those numbers in this kind of game. A winner take all for the 7th seed to put up 41 points and 12 assists is incredible. That is fantastic. I think, obviously he's been on the NBA radar this season. He's an all-star, but now even more so than ever. And I mean, people should know that Deni Advija is one of the best basketball players in the NBA, and just an incredible performance from him. The other people I want to shout out, Jeremy Grant. 2 huge threes in the fourth quarter. The Blazers are down and out. Gliss, you mentioned this when we were feeling frustrated. I was very upset. I thought it was done. I thought it was over. I was in my feelings. And then Jeremy Grant comes in and he just hits 2 huge corner threes. And if you looked at any of the discourse online during this game, any of the live threads, why is Jeremy Grant in? He shouldn't be here. Like, come on, these are forced Jeremy Grant minutes. Absolutely not. He came in and saved the Blazers in the fourth quarter. Incredible. Jrue Holiday had a great game. He had the veteran poise that the Blazers needed. He finishes with 21 points. I thought Shaedon Sharpe had some huge mistakes, but also had some awesome plays in this game. He got to the rim a couple times. He D'd up Devin Booker in that fourth quarter. I did not know that Shaedon had that in him, and it was a huge defensive play to stop Devin Booker at the end of that game. Toumani Camara didn't have a great shooting night or anything like that. 4 steals, though. 4 steals. So just fantastic. And then I want to touch on Scoot as well. I thought that I honestly wanted Scoot to play more minutes in this game because there was a stretch. I have it in my notes here. Scoot hit a 3, then he hit a tough mid-range jumper. Then he stole the ball from Devin Booker in the open court, which was incredible. And then he had another steal after that. I thought his defense was incredible. I thought this game was going to be his moment for a second, his coming out party for a second. It wasn't quite that, but he had an incredible stretch, and he was really aggressive and great. So it was just, man, it was such a back-and-forth game, like you said, Gliss. I mean, my notes in this game are crazy. They're basically like, oh no, this is bad. Oh no, or this is amazing. Oh no, this is bad. Oh, this is amazing. Like it's literally just the back and forth would go. And man, I mean that's what it is being a Blazers fan. This game wasn't going to be easy. I was like, oh, they're up 14 in the second. Maybe they'll stay up 14 the whole game. I mean, come on, how ridiculous was that thinking? But man, what a fantastic game, and so many great things to come to. I mean, it was playoff. It's a playoff game. It was a very playoff type game. That back and forth kind of basketball runs here and there, but always staying kind of a close game within that 5 to 7 point range, or even less than that. And the Blazers end up pulling it out despite being down, 10 with 6 minutes to go. I don't know exactly what it was, but it was incredible for them to have the poise to come out and steal this one in Phoenix.
Yeah, and your point on Scoot in particular, I agree with you. I felt like when he kind of that little stint in the beginning of the game, it did feel like he was kind of like building, into like maybe having a game that kind of was a signature game. But even with that, I mean, like, I think one of the things that stands out from the game when you take a step back and you talked about him, you talked about Jrue, and I mean, outside, obviously Deni was unbelievable, but to me, the 2 guys that really, really kind of, were perfect complements to get this victory were Jeremy Grant and Jrue Holiday, just because they are the more veteran guys, and they showed up in the moments where the Blazers really needed them to show up. But then you look at the rest of the game, and I really do feel like the thing that was most impressive to me is just the fact that it was a total team effort, and every guy that got an opportunity came in and contributed. Chris Murray in his minutes, like, he didn't do anything spectacular, but he did the things that they needed him to do. He got a couple offensive rebounds. It just felt like everybody was mentally focused, and it's so funny because we have talked about this all year. Like, they've had these stretches where they've been this team, and I think it was only a month ago where I was like talking about the turnovers, where I was like, I feel like they have enough vets that they can kind of clean this up a little bit. And to their credit, they've done that, especially in these really big games against the Clippers last night. They didn't they did have some turnovers. I think there was a stretch where where it felt like they were turning the ball over a lot. It was probably in that third quarter. But to their credit, again, like I felt like every time they kind of were pulling themselves out of the game by making mistakes, they found a way to recalibrate and kind of adjust and fix the issue. The same thing with the shooting. I got unbelievably frustrated with the shooting at times, where it just felt like, man, they're just shooting themselves out of the game. Like in times where it felt like they just need to get a bucket right now. Like, and then it's like they'd end up shooting a 3-point shot, and it felt like a little stagnant. It's like, okay, we don't need to, like, we all know that the Blazers, and I think part of that too, like, you're going to kind of have to live with that at this point. Like, they shoot more threes than almost any team in the NBA, and they also miss more than almost any team in the NBA. I don't think that's going to change. I think that's part of their identity, whether you like it or not. It also presents the opportunity for them to hit those big shots like Jeremy Grant had that you spoke about earlier. But yeah, it felt like at times they were definitely like kind of shooting themselves out of the game. But again, they found ways to readjust and make the adjustments they needed, and they started to get more aggressive in that fourth quarter. Deni started to get to the rim more, and he kind of became really aggressive, and I think that started to open up some of those timely shots that they needed down the stretch.
Absolutely. They outscore Phoenix 27-12 in the final 7 minutes, which was, obviously so huge and led by Deni and Jeremy Grant. Yeah, I'm just looking at kind of my thoughts throughout the game. Obviously the Blazers kind of fall apart at the end of that second quarter, only lead by 3 at the half. And I was like, oh man, I thought that was a really key stretch. I was like, if they can keep a double-digit lead going to the half, I thought, I was going to be a lot more confident, especially with kind of the third quarter struggles that we've seen this team have. And then I wrote in my notes too, maybe it's good that Jalen Green is so cocky. And I remember because he was hitting so many shots. It's like what I was worried about in that, throughout the whole game it was like a battle of the wills, right? It was like the Suns are so good with Booker and Green and Dillon Brooks at just getting to their spots and hitting that little mid-range jumper. It just seems inevitable sometimes. It's like Booker's going to hit that. But Tumani did such a good job of guarding Booker in this game. I thought he was fantastic. He was all over him at times and made it really hard for Booker, to the point where Jalen Green took, I think it was 29 shots in this game, Gliss. And he made a lot of them. He had a really great game, and he was a pain. Like, I was like, man, does this guy ever miss? But then, towards the end of the game, I think Jalen Green had a layup that got blocked. He ends up taking the 3 to win the game, misses it. It was just moments like that where it's like, man, as a Blazers fan, do you want Jalen Green taking that shot, or do you want Devin Booker taking that shot? And it's like, I definitely want Jalen Green taking that shot. I'm way less scared of him than I am of Devin Booker. So, I remember when I wrote that in my notes thinking like, oh my God, I'm such an idiot. Now the Blazers are going to lose to Jalen Green, and I'm going to have it in my notes that it's a good thing that Jalen Green was so cocky. And I just remember being like, it's my fault. I did this to the Blazers. But then it ended up working out, so they end up pulling away. So, I mean, it's just, but like I was saying, the battle of the wills is like the Suns have those that mid-range just on lock, and they can get to their shots every time. Whereas the Blazers offense is always a game of what struggle are we going to go into next? Is it going to be missing threes? Is it going to be, Deni getting suffocated around the rim, and all this stuff? But obviously Deni was fantastic. The threes fell when it mattered, and they came out ahead. Man, it was it's just one of those games where it was everything. And Gliss, one thing I want to talk about too is kind of our overall feelings on the season. I know there's still games to be played, but I think as Blazers fans, we can walk away from this game and say this season is a win. It's a win. We should enjoy everything else from here on out, and we shouldn't settle as Blazers fans and expect this team to cause some problems for the San Antonio Spurs in the first round. But this is an absolute win of a season, and I'm so excited for everything that's happened and for them to come out and win that game and do what they did last night. It's just like I'm ecstatic. I feel great, and it's been such a fun year. And there's been highs, there's been lows, but it ends in it will end in a great place. And I feel like this is a good spot to say they made marked improvements this year and have improved really well as a team, and this shows that with this win last night.
Absolutely, and Udonis Haslem said the same thing you just said on the post game. He was like, this organization has pretty much accomplished what they could have wanted to accomplish in this season. To see Deni become an all-star, to see the just dramatic improvement we've seen from Donovan Clingan. All the adversity they've had to go through with injuries and the weird situation, right on the eve of the first game of the season with the coaching situation. I mean, there's been a lot of things that could have made this go in the wrong direction. Despite, I think, expectations being tempered a little bit. It wasn't like anybody was like, oh, yeah, the Blazers are going to win the championship this year. I think there was optimism and hope, and they had to deal with a lot of stuff. And I also think it's worth pointing out, and we've talked about Jrue a lot throughout the season, and there was also time he had some frustrating plays at times in the game last night, but that's playoff basketball. I mean, it's not every possession is so important that it's going to stand out when there's little mistakes and little things that happen. Those kind of things stand out in the moment. But overall, I remember when they made that trade, and a lot of people were kind of scratching their head, wait, why? We just got Dame back. Yeah, he's not going to play this year, but he's expected to play next year. And it just felt, I think a lot of people felt like this is kind of an odd move. It doesn't fit the trajectory of this roster. But I think now we can look at that and see why that move was so important to not only have them be competitive this year, but to help this team mature and take that next step. And I give him just a ton of I think having Dame around as well and guys like Jeremy Grant. But I can't say enough about Jrue just in terms of what he's brought to this particular team and how he's helped this team mature. And that's I feel like he kind of has a lot of the identity of this team because of the fact that in these big games where they've needed to step up and win, and it's a young team, they've really I think we both said the word poise multiple times. I think that's the perfect word to kind of describe what we've seen from this team over the last month. Because at times throughout the season where it felt like, man, these guys just aren't getting it, when in games where it felt like they should have been, taking care of business. But everything has changed. The turnovers have got reduced. Just how locked in everyone has been mentally, and again, just contributing. Every person's been taking advantage of their opportunities. So I can't say enough about Jrue, and you're right. I mean, it's just been an unbelievable season. And the Spurs, as I mentioned, they're going to be extremely difficult to beat in a 7-game series. But at this point, I don't think it matters, honestly. I just want to enjoy it. I feel like the pressure is off because they've accomplished more than I would have hoped for, especially given the opportunities that they've had, with the last couple weeks against the Clippers and then having to go on the road last night and coming out of there with a win. I couldn't feel more optimistic about the future of this roster.
And I feel like it says a lot about the veteran leadership, like you were talking about, Gliss, and the coaching staff and what they've been able to do in these big games at the end of the season. For the most part, this is a young team. Obviously, they do have veterans, but when it's come to big games against those two against the Clippers, obviously this game, even the last game of the season against the Kings, they have come out ready and poised and, and have just looked beyond their years in these big games. And I think it could have slipped very easily that they could have lost any of these games, but they came out and really won. And I think it does say a lot, like you're mentioning, about the veteran leadership and the coaching staff on this team. I think they've done a good job, and I think Thiago Splitter, like, there were some moments last night during the game I was like, what is this lineup, you know? And I was one of those people, like, I was a little worried about Jeremy Grant coming off an injury, but Thiago Splitter knows more than I do, you know, and he put in the lineups that ended up winning this game, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, I agree, and I also want to say too, I think we also need to give credit to Joe Cronin just because of the fact that the way that this roster has been constructed, the kind of players they have, like, you know, we talk about a guy like Chris Murray, who's not like anybody's favorite Blazer, I don't think, but
Might be yours.
But the way he's played the last month, I mean, has been incredible. Like, just as a role player, just kind of knowing what it is that they need from him. And I feel like, you know, a lot of that is coaching and kind of belief in each other. I think this team has good chemistry, but the type of players that they have on this roster, I think, fit well for moments like this. And having guys like Tumani and Matisse, and even Scoot, like you said, he was great on defense last night. Deni, the way can be bothersome as a one-on-one defender. I think there's credit due from, you know, the top to the bottom, like from the way that this roster has been constructed over the last couple of years as we've all sat here in purgatory watching this team, you know, get hammered every night. It's just fun to see everything kind of come to fruition and just like have this optimism about moving forward and not have to think about like what the next. And I know that there is a camp of people that, you know, is thinking like, oh, like draft picks and this and that and the other thing. At some point, you got to, at some point, and people can disagree with us. That's fine. I understand, like, you know, everybody has their opinions on this, but, you know, you're 4 years into a rebuild. You could even say 5 when it was like the previous kind of era was already kind of fading away. At some point, like, you have to pull the trigger and just be like, okay, this is what we've built. We're going to stand by it. We're going to believe in it. We're going to try to improve it. But now's the time to go try to win. And, like, to go into Phoenix against a team that's top 10 in offense and defense and beat that team to secure a playoff spot with this young of a group, to me, that proves it right there. Like, I'd rather have that and have them have this experience, and now they get to go into a 7-game series regardless of how many games they win in that series to get that playoff experience and to build the kind of character that they're going to need if they want to get to where we all want them to be, you know, 2-3 years from now. It's just been, to me, that far outweighs any thought of, you know, wanting to get another draft pick or anything like that. There's other ways to improve a roster in the NBA. And so I just want to say, you know, like, to the people that are worried about that part of it, like, let's have fun with where we're at and enjoy this moment, because it feels like it's been a long time coming.
Absolutely. You know, and I'm just so excited you could see the joy on Denny's face. Like, this is his first, he gets to play his first playoff basketball. Scoot gets to play his first playoff basketball. Shaden, I don't think Shaden's played playoff basketball now that I'm
think
thinking
so.
about
No, I think he was the year after that Denver series. Yeah.
So a lot of these young guys get a taste of this, and I just think I'm excited for them. That's fun. This is what they want to do. This is what they want to be a part of. And I'm so excited to watch some playoff basketball. It's going to be great. 2 games guaranteed in Portland. That's always exciting. Looking ahead to the Spurs series, Game 1, Sunday, April 19th in San Antonio. I believe it's a 6 p.m. Pacific time tip for that one. Then the first 4 games will follow on Tuesday, and then we will come to Portland for for games on Friday and Sunday. Weekend games, Gliss. Portland gets the weekend game, so that place better be crazy and loud, as I know it will be. Gliss, let's do just a minute or two on this San Antonio Spurs series. Victor Wembanyama, MVP candidate. I mean, just watching him play basketball is insane. There's going to be some moments in this series, I think, where the Blazers are going to struggle a lot with him, and it's going to seem like there's no hope at times, I think. How the Blazers react to that, I think, will be interesting. The Blazers' number one superpower is deni Advija, drives to the basket, head down, downhill, getting to the rack. There is no player in the NBA who you would want to do that against less than Victor Wembanyama. So it will be interesting to see how the Blazers react to that. Now, positives for the Blazers. The Spurs don't have much experience either.
Yeah.
This team is not playoff tested. They have Harrison Barnes, De'Aaron Fox have been in playoff games, but I haven't looked exactly at the roster. I don't think they have much playoff experience other than that off the top of my head. So we're looking at kind of two teams that are similar in that aspect. Have some vets that have been there, have a lot of young guys who haven't. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out. I do think the Blazers can take a game or two. I don't think this will be a sweep. And that's kind of where I'm at now. I think a lot of people probably will be predicting a sweep. But my hope would be that the Blazers can take a game or two at least and make this a little bit more interesting. If I'm San Antonio, I don't know, man. Like this Blazers team, top 3 defense in the NBA, of late. This is not a team necessarily that you want to go up against. So I think that, matchup-wise, there's some things that the Blazers can do to make this more interesting. But again, dealing with Wembanyama, dealing with all those feisty guards that the Spurs have is going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult. But yeah, I think probably most people are going to say 4 to 5 games. I'm going to be like a cautiously optimistic and say like I'd probably lean more towards 5-6 games.
Wow.
I think
okay.
I think there's I would, if I had to choose, I'd say it's probably Spurs in 5.
Okay.
But I do think that the Blazers have enough going for them right now. They're playing their best basketball right now. Last night was the first time the entire season, we went the entire season, first time in the entire season that the roster was fully, full health. So, I mean, I think sometimes, especially with the amount of injuries that they had, it's easy. And I think a lot of people were saying this going into the Suns game. A lot of people were picking the Suns to win pretty handedly last night.
Yeah, they were favored for sure.
And I think, that's some of that is skewed by the numbers that the Blazers have overall for the season. But they've played a different level of basketball the last month. So I do think this team is different now than they were the majority of the season. So I think, the numbers might be a little skewed, as you talked about. Like, I don't think they're top 10 defensively. I want to say they're around like 17 or something like that for the entire season. But the last month, that's not the case. They've been a completely team, especially defensively. And even three-point shooting. Their three-point shooting has been dramatically better the last month as well. So I do think there's some problems that they can cause for the Spurs. So I think they can for sure get one game at home. And who knows? Like, I think it's especially a young team on the road, if they can hang around in those first 2 games, I always think there's a decent chance that, a team can go in and steal one of those games. As long as they can keep themselves in the game, kind of like what they did last night, and take those punches, like, I wouldn't put it past them to go in and be able to steal one of those 2. I wouldn't predict it. That's not like if you said, you have to choose, like, can they win one of those games? I'd probably say it feels safer saying, like, probably not. Like, I think they'll be competitive, but they probably won't get a win. But I wouldn't put it past them to go in and steal one. If they can do that, then I'm feeling pretty good about the fact that they could make this a 6-game series.
Absolutely. Man, so excited. Oh man, I'm so happy. I was so happy yesterday watching the game. It was incredible. I had to stay up a little late here, Gliss. I mean, it wasn't that bad. I'm on East Coast time right now.
Okay.
And so it was, the game started at 10, which is still late. I can't believe these East Coast people are doing this for these West Coast games. I'm staying in a little Airbnb, but I just have a room here and watching it on my laptop, which was nice because it was on Amazon Prime, so it was a little bit easier for me to watch it. But man, the Prime broadcast was not super happy with kind of how it was going. And there's some problems with it, sound-wise, delays, all this stuff. But whatever.
Yeah.
Blazers basketball, I was loving it. So the game ends at 1 a.m. and I'd gone through all the emotions, right? I was saying ups, downs, all this stuff, oh, they're going to lose, oh, they're going to win, they're going to lose, all this stuff. And they win, and I can't really scream because I'm I'm in a house where there's other people here and stuff like that. So I just get up on the bed, I just started jumping up and down, just ecstatic, and just celebrating. And it was so fun. I was just so happy. I was just it's funny because we had an episode, I think it was a few episodes ago, a couple weeks ago, we talked about how if they could slide into this 8-7 game, that we thought that they could steal this one in Phoenix. And so it was I was thinking about that. I was man, and I don't know, it's just you have that feeling before the game. I was this is a winnable game. They can win this game. Phoenix isn't that scary, especially you see the stats of their record the last 3 months. They haven't had a winning month, this year, I think, or since January or something like that. And it's the Blazers have been completely opposite, playing their best ball. So it just felt totally winnable, and I'm so glad. It was awesome, man. It was just that's why I'm looking ahead to the Spurs series, but ultimately it's just enjoy this, just the joy, and I'm gonna be watching the highlights a couple different times and just soaking it in because it's great. It's great, and so glad to be here. But all right, this has been Wake Up Rip City. Thank you so much for joining us. If you made it this far in the episode and love talking about the Blazers winning a play-in game against the Phoenix Suns, tell a friend about our show, please. Just tell a friend to check us out. Blazers fan, and make sure they check out our YouTube channel, watch our videos, and see what they think too, because that would mean the world for us. To us, we're just, we just love talking basketball, and we love sharing this experience with you and having this community of Blazer fans here, giving us comments on the videos, liking the videos, all that stuff has been so fun. It's so great, and I love responding to all the comments and talking with everyone and talking ball with you guys. It's just awesome, and we love the Blazers and love seeing them be successful. All right, Gliss, we'll be back soon to talk playoff basketball. You never thought in the first season of Wake Up Rip City that we'd have playoff basketball episodes of this show, but we will.
Great timing on our part.
Yeah, great time. We picked a good time to start a show. Awesome. All right, Gliss. We'll see everyone next week.